nur Luft. Genau. Es ist schwierig.
Okay.
Wir hören, okay, sie ist keine Deutsche.
Ja, ja,
Wir
das
hören
ist schon klar.
kein Problem, oder?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in the beautiful wine region of Lower Franconia, Germany. So in this video today, I am going to be opening up and sharing quite an intimate, quite personal story about my German language learning journey and how things are going right now. This is something I don't talk a lot about on my channel, and I probably should talk more about this. I just have always found this quite a vulnerable topic. It makes me feel very exposed and like I'm sharing my insecurities with the whole world. Looking back to where I started and where I am now, I am so proud of myself. Everybody's language learning journey will look different. There is absolutely no level you should be for the amount of time you've lived in a country. Your individual situation will look very, very different to another person's situation. And that's why you should never compare yourself to anybody else. Comparison is the killer of joy, and I have realized this the hard way because I've always been so hard on myself in regards to the German language, to the point where I feel as though I have held myself back so much, and in hindsight I would have done things a lot differently. I have actually gone from being very scared of speaking German in social situations to just pushing myself and throwing myself into situations where I have to and I've got no choice. And by doing this, I have built up some really, really beautiful friendships with Germans, with native German speakers, and that was a huge goal of mine that I didn't even think I would be able to achieve. I've realized that nobody really cares if you make a few mistakes, if you have an accent. Nobody cares, you're the only one that cares. And the fear of judgment is the main thing that has been holding me back. I feel as though I still carry that nervous feeling and that fear of judgment, but lately I have been really fighting that urge to want to kind of only speak German at a surface level, and I have just been opening up a lot more and challenging myself a lot more, and I'm seeing the amazing results that are coming from, you know, putting myself out there more and facing my fears. Before I jump into that, I want to take a moment to share my personal experience with an incredible online language learning platform called italki. Many people ask me, Antoinette, what is the best way to learn the German language from scratch? Because that's what I had to do when I first came to Germany. And I always say full immersion is incredible if you have the chance. But in saying that, it's almost impossible, actually it is impossible, to have a conversation in German when you can't speak German, which is why I highly recommend having professional German lessons before you are able to immerse yourself in the German language. With italki, you can book personalized lessons with experienced native teachers at your own convenience. This flexibility allows you to tailor your learning experience according to your schedule and specific needs. Despite being surrounded by native German speakers every day here in Germany, I still sometimes feel very uncomfortable and nervous in those sort of social situations where everybody is relaxed and talking really quickly and jumping from subject to subject, and when, you know, you have to react really quickly and come up with answers really quickly. That's something I struggle with. So I decided to turn to italki to help me out with this. After browsing through numerous profiles of German tutors, I came across Denise. Her warmth and openness in her introduction immediately drew me in. I just knew she would be the perfect tutor for my unique situation. Hallo Denise.
Hallo, guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Wie geht es dir?
Gut, sehr gut, danke. Und dir?
Ich bin ein bisschen erkältet,
Oh.
also es kann passieren, ich muss husten, aber ich mache das Audio dann
Oh
aus.
je. Darf ich du sagen? Ist das in Ordnung?
Bitte.
Okay.
Ja, ich sage immer du zu allem.
Super, okay.
Ich habe es auch schon beim Schreiben gemacht.
Ja,
es
das
ist
habe ich
einfacher
gemerkt.
und Nur wenn jemand für eine formelle Situation übt, jemand, der sagt, okay, ich muss Vorstellungsgespräche im Beruf haben, dann mache ich das mit Sie,
Ja.
damit keine Fehler passieren in diesen Situationen. Aber es ist sehr schwierig für mich.
Ja, das glaube ich.
Du drückst die Luft weg. Und dann nur Luft, kein Ton, kein Geräusch. Also keine Stimme, nur Luft. Genau. Es ist schwierig.
Okay.
Wir hören, okay, sie ist keine Deutsche.
Ja, das ist schon klar. Und das ist
ist kein Problem, oder?
Das ist kein Problem.
Genau. So, dann hören wir, okay, Muttersprache ist Englisch.
Ja,
wenn wir
sofort.
hören wir das. Und das ist alles.
Ja.
Manchmal sagen meine Freunde, bist du sicher, dass du Deutschlehrerin bist oder bist du Therapeutin? Und ich sage immer, es ist egal, Hauptsache, es ist auf Deutsch.
Genau.
In Zukunft, wenn du Situationen hast, wo du sagst, ich weiß nicht, was sie gesagt hat, das habe ich gehört oder das war unangenehm, dann können wir das immer einbauen. Ich bereite Themen vor. Wenn du Themen hast, sind sie jederzeit willkommen.
Perfekt. Vielen, vielen Dank. Das war ganz schön.
Danke dir.
My first lesson with Denise was everything I had hoped for and more. Admittedly, I felt a little bit nervous beforehand, but Denise created a welcoming environment that made me feel at ease expressing myself in German without the fear of judgment. We engaged in fascinating conversations where she gently corrected my grammar and pronunciation while focusing on helping me feel comfortable discussing various everyday topics related to my life. If you're interested in booking a trial lesson with Denise or exploring other tutors on italki, I've got great news for you. You can click on the link below in my description to start your language learning journey today. Plus, if you use my exclusive promo code ANTOINETTE5 when purchasing your first lesson for $10, you'll receive an additional $5 free. This discount is only available for the first 50 of my subscribers. italki allows you to pay per lesson with no subscription required. Fit your budget and schedule with personalized one-on-one lessons with native speaking teachers and improve your listening and speaking with real conversations. I actually kind of felt like that italki session with Denise was a mix between a German lesson and a therapy session. I think she should be labelled, German tutor / therapist because she really helped me to realise a few things about myself. Basically, she said to me in an everyday situation, she said to me, of course, you would notice straight away, I am not a native German speaker, I am an English speaker because of my accent, but it wouldn't bother her in the slightest. I don't know if she realised how much that meant to me and how much it helped me. She probably did realise the impact of that being a professional teacher, but the reason why I felt so comforted by hearing that is because I'm constantly scared that I am being judged by Germans and they don't want to hang out with me because I can't engage in conversations at their level, and I've realised that's just not true. Over the years I've lived in Germany, particularly the time after German language school, when I actually had built up a foundation in German with German, grammar and sentence structure and, just being able to hold a German conversation. I feel as though I've kind of left it on a more superficial level. So having short German conversations, calling up, making appointments for my children at the doctor and maybe, going to the dentist and having a little bit of small talk with other mums at the playground, I feel as though I was pretty fine at that. And so I've kind of lived in a little bit of a bubble where English is my main language. I communicate with my kids and my husband in English, and if German kids come to the home for a play date, I'll switch to German, that's no problem. If I'm chatting to my neighbour or something like that, I'll be fine with speaking German. At the supermarket, at the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, I'm fine with speaking German. It's when I have to get into really deep conversations, that is where I freak out and I get really, really nervous and I sort of stiffen up and I just can't be myself. And I'm getting a lot better at that. I really am, but it is still a big insecurity of mine, and I just want to talk about it today. I just want to get this off my chest because I know that a lot of you watching are probably in a similar situation, and I'm hoping maybe you can learn from my mistakes. So talking with Germans in a relaxed, informal situation has always really terrified me, and it still does, but I'm getting a lot better at it, and I am noticing the more I do it, the easier it's becoming. For example, my husband has a group of really lovely German friends who are always so nice to me, and we started out speaking English with each other, and then as my German improved, we switched to German. They come over for barbecues and, you know, maybe to watch movies in the evening sometimes and things like that, and I always have this little bit of a, I don't know, I can't fully relax when I'm speaking German because I'm thinking, what are they going to ask me? You know, how am I going to respond? Do I sound, you know, like a loser? And as much as I try and relax, I just can't fully relax, and I hate that because I really like these people and I just want them to think I'm cool and not awkward. And as I mentioned, I have made some lovely German friends, and I would say I've built up these friendships in the last 2 years, within the last 2 years. And these are German friends who I actually speak German with, and we don't switch over to English. And so before that, I only really ever had friends that I spoke English with. So I had German acquaintances, but I wouldn't have called them friends. And the few German friends that I did have, we only spoke English with each other because their level of English was amazing and it was just easier, and I felt like I could connect with them more speaking English. But right now I can say I not only have German friends who I speak English with, I have German friends who I just speak German with. And I am so proud to say that. I know that sounds crazy, but it just makes me so happy to know that I actually have built up friendships just speaking German. These Germans actually like me when I am speaking their language, and it blows my mind, and I still don't understand why, but I am really, really grateful that I can, you know, be accepted. So there's 3 ladies that I have become quite close with through their sons at kindergarten, and so my little boy Luca has 3 quite close friends around the same age as him. He's developed these really cute little friendships with these 3 boys, and their mothers are all awesome. And so it just kind of started out with hi, and the kids are sort of playing with each other after kindergarten, and then we'd maybe meet spontaneously at the playground, not planned or anything. I'd get into a conversation with these other mums, and then it would turn into swapping numbers on WhatsApp, and then it would turn into, you know, play dates and things like that. And then there was birthday parties, and the boys would be invited to each other's birthday parties, and, you know, then the mums would come in when they picked up the boys, and they would stay for a little bit, and that is how these friendships have developed. And even just this week, it was Monday, kindergarten was closed. Luca was invited around for a play date, and then the mum said, why don't you come too? And then another mum was invited, and it ended up just being, you know, 3 mums having coffee, chatting, and I was the only non-German. And, you know, I was struggling a little bit with that spontaneous conversation, but for the most part, I found myself feeling pretty relaxed in these conversations, being the only non-native German speaker, because they were just being so inclusive. I just knew that these mums were so nice, and they wanted me to be there, and they had included me. They didn't care about my accent or the fact that I was struggling to come up with words for certain scenarios and things like that. They would help me out. I can't even tell you how much this has improved my life in Germany, that feeling of acceptance from the locals, because before that I would just be clinging to my expat group, and the few German friends I had, we'd been speaking English. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore my English speaking friends, but to have German friends, like I'm living in Germany and I've got German friends who want to hang out with me, it just means the world to me. And it's just made me feel so much happier in Germany. If I have any, you know, concerns or problems about raising kids in Germany, I can just go to these lovely German friends. If I've missed out some details at a kindergarten meeting, they will only be too happy to fill me in, but they are explaining it in German, which is helping me so much, and it's just awesome. And I just want to say that if you are like me and you are really struggling to take that leap and just put yourself in these quite uncomfortable, awkward social situations in Germany, honestly, just do it. It is the best feeling when you have conquered something like that. Of course, there's going to be interactions that you have and you're going to be thinking, oh my God, why did I say that? And oh, the worst is after a social interaction with Germans and you remember all of the mistakes you made. Oh my goodness, I just have to let that kind of stuff go. I can't dwell on that. Otherwise, it's just too much for me. The embarrassment is too much. I just have to let it all go and realize, like, at the end of the day, people don't care. Like, Germans do not care about your accent. They don't care about mistakes that you make. If they like you, then they like you. And of course, at the beginning it's going to be a bit awkward, but German friendships, they do take a while to build. And you know, your personality is going to shine through regardless of your level of German, and the more you interact with Germans, the better you're going to get, the more comfortable you're going to get in these situations. Putting yourself in these situations not only is incredible for your self-esteem, it helps you build these beautiful friendships, and it helps you build that village that can be so hard to find when you are a foreigner in Germany. And so I highly recommend you just swallowing your pride and just facing these kind of situations, as painful as they can be sometimes. Trust me, it is so, so worth it. And yeah, you're going to thank me for it later. Whenever I was about to go into a social situation in Germany, my anxiety would be through the roof. I would be practicing what I was going to say, responses that might be appropriate for this situation, over-analyzing everything, and it's just not cool. And it didn't make people think I was cool because they could tell that I was not relaxed and I was holding back, and people can sense that. And lately I've just been going into these social situations without worrying, without practicing anything, because that is just like, oh my goodness, how embarrassing. But I did do that. I've been going into these social situations just more relaxed, and you know, sometimes I'm not going to be super quick at responses, but it's okay just to sit back and just take in what's going on. I'm actually finding myself really looking forward to these kind of social interactions, mainly because I really like the ladies I'm hanging out with, but also in situations like kindergarten meetings where other parents are really vocal, I am really challenging myself, and I will, you know, stand up and talk in front of the group. And I'm realizing if I'm confident about what I'm saying, even if I'm making mistakes and if I have an accent, then people will respond to you well. And, you know, if you don't care, then they don't care. And that's what I'm realizing. And I always say in this whole, you know, excruciating journey of learning the German language from scratch, I've only ever felt that Germans have encouraged me. I've never felt that Germans are judging me and thinking, oh my goodness, who is this person? She's butchering our language. I've never had that feeling. It's always been me carrying around that heavy weight, you know, what if these people think I'm a loser? And so basically where I'm going with this is I still have insecurities with speaking German, and my biggest insecurity is in social situations and reacting, you know, having fast reactions to questions and keeping up with the conversations and, you know, not sounding awkward. I still find that hard. That is still an insecurity of mine, but I have improved so much by throwing myself into these situations, surrendering to my own insecurities and realizing I'm never going to sound like a native German, and that is okay. I'm a New Zealander living in Germany. I can speak German. I have German friends who I speak German with, and they still like me. That is huge for me, and that is a huge win in my mind. Anyway guys, I have come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just before I go, I wanted to mention that if you are interested in taking some German language lessons with a professional tutor on italki, then I will leave a link for where you can do so in my description below. I also have a discount code, Antoinette5. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel and it helps to to get my videos out there and noticed. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel and you enjoy my content, then I would absolutely love you to consider subscribing. That would mean the world to me. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!